So I already said good evening, right? A great Tibetan scholar, Gindu Chumpe, he was a great poet. He said, "The legless earthworm runs in search of peace. The eyeless ant runs in search of peace." In short, the whole world is running in search of peace. And this is a very pertinent statement, because right from the day we are born, or even when we are in the womb of the mother, we all wanted peace and happiness and well-being. And I normally tell people that after the birth, the first thing that the child does is crying. By the cry, the child is asking for somebody's genuine love and affection, for peace and happiness. The child is definitely not asking for a lengthy discourse on Buddhism or any other religion, right? So in order to achieve anything, worldly, beyond worldly, we need to be very clear about the fact that we want happiness and long-lasting happiness. Happiness also not for 2 days or 3 days. Sometimes when we look at our life, it really looks like that you want happiness for few days or during just the holidays. But if we sit down and think carefully, we want happiness, and we want happiness as long as possible. Are you with me? That we have to remember. Now if you want happiness, and happiness as long as possible, in this life and many lives to come, then what would you do? What is it that will bring that long-lasting peace and happiness? So before, as I said, before we venture out into any project, any activity, we need to first be very clear, and you need to actually say this 100 times to oneself: I want long-lasting happiness. Not 10 days happiness, long-lasting happiness. And to confirm that, I've asked this question to many people, to many places and many countries, and everybody says, yes, I want long-lasting happiness. And this really has nothing to do with religion per se. So we need to confirm that. And then the second thing we need to confirm is, or clearly understand, is if you want that long-lasting happiness, from where would you get it? Long-lasting happiness. Somebody said, if you want happiness for 1 hour, take a nap. If you want happiness for few more days, go for holiday. If you want happiness for 1 month or 1 year, get married. So there are many ways of getting like short-term happiness. But that will not give us long-lasting happiness, which is what we want. That long-lasting happiness, nobody can give it to you. You have to get it. You have to get it. How can we get it? We can get it by changing our perspective, changing our attitude. Changing our attitude does not necessarily conform to any tradition or any religion, but changing your attitude in accordance with the reality, the way things are. And that's actually what the Buddha taught. What the Buddha taught, the so-called conventional truth, the ultimate truth, these are the truths that are written in the rocks, that is written in the nature. And Buddha was able to clearly perceive that this is the reality. And people are unfortunately turning a blind eye to these realities, and that is why they are suffering. And the suffering that we are having is basically unnecessary suffering, as His Holiness says. Mind this, unnecessary suffering. Because if you had changed your attitude a little bit, if you had a little bit better insight, better knowledge, you don't have to suffer. Like physically, for example, physically also. On and off we get sick. Yes, this body itself is susceptible to sickness, but this does not mean to say that you should get frequently sick. You won't get frequently sick if you take a little bit care of what you eat, what kind of exercises you do. Like people suffering from, including myself maybe, suffering from blood pressure or diabetes, whatever, it's because of overweight. Why you are overweight? Why you eat so much so that your legs can't carry you? As simple as that. Really, we need to develop that kind of awareness. Constantly check your health and be sure that you are eating the right food. Don't eat anything. That is the first step. Forget about enlightenment, nirvana. If you want to achieve nirvana, enlightenment, and many of these big things, first you should be healthy. Health of mind is most important, but the residence of that mind is your body, and you should really make sure that your body is well. And that is possible if you do the needed exercise and be very careful about what you eat. I mean, take the example of the birds. They don't get sick so frequently as human beings. Birds don't have to wear eyeglasses. Similarly, cows and dogs, they don't have to use all these things that human beings are using, because human beings, because of this so-called intelligent mind, we have this great intelligence, but that intelligence is used in the wrong way, and we become very demanding. I want this, I need everything that is available in the market. I need to eat everything that is floating in the market. That's how you get sick. You see? So that's why the Buddha repeatedly said that learn to live with the nature. Learn to live with the nature. Learn the rules of the game of the nature. Right? So therefore, I'm starting from a very simple thing. Those of you who are overweight, reduce your weight. That's my teaching. And once your body is well, your brain is fine, you can do miracles. You can study Dharma, you can do so many things. Start from things that you can do. You know, if you look carefully how the world is suffering, it is suffering primarily of two things. One, lack of knowledge, what we call as ignorance. Second, inaction. Even in the case of people who have the knowledge, they don't act, they don't do the job. They keep on thinking, I'll do. As one great teacher, Kung Tang Tembe Dome, he said, you spend your first 20 years by thinking, first 20 years by not being able to do any Dharma practice. Then you pass another 20 years by thinking, I will do Dharma practice, but not doing it. So you are 40 now. Then you pass the next 20 years saying, I could not do Dharma practice. So this is the biography of us individuals in terms of our Dharma practice. So in the case of Dharma practice also, just like drinking water. If you are thirsty, you need to drink water, but not the whole ocean at one go. But you need to drink some water. So likewise, in terms of your Dharma practice also, pick those advices, pick those sentences which really strikes your heart, your mind, and take it into your heart and implement it. Then your practice will be very easy, very smooth. Right? Right? So therefore, as I studied, we want long-lasting happiness. You need to write this in those places where you are living. I want a long-lasting happiness. And then you ask the question, from where this long-lasting happiness will come? From money? Yes, you need money. Not only money you need, but you need a lot of money, right? but it is guaranteed that you will not get that long-lasting happiness from money. Similarly, from name and fame, and from friendship, from marriage, all these are necessary, but in many cases, necessary evil. You are not going to get it. Nothing comes value-free. The more you get dependent on so many things, the more you will get problems, difficulties also. So the place to turn to get the long-lasting happiness is within yourself, changing your attitude. And that's the most difficult thing. Because when we talk about changing your attitude, you are talking about mind. And what is this stupid thing called mind? Nobody has seen it. That's the problem. We human beings are very good in, grappling with those things which we can see, which we can smell, which we can touch. And look at the market, the malls. They are flooding with all those things that you can see, you can touch, you can smell, and we keep on buying all those things. Right? And for the mind, what did we do? In terms of external material things like your mobile phone, you keep on updating. Right? Mobile iPhone number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, now something else. Recently I was in the market, so I was asking about this mobile iPhone. They said something, I could not get it. It was above 10, something like that. So we keep on updating. But when was the last time when you updated yourself? Right? And now, these days, some of the thinkers, writers, they are saying that the speed of science and technology is going so fast with the talk of artificial intelligence and so forth, that we may not be able to catch up with the speed of technology. And when you are unable to catch up with the technology, it means you are going to lose your job. It's changing so fast. And Buddha taught this a long time back. Impermanence. Impermanence means change. And he spoke about the subtlest impermanence. So this is now happening, at least with science and technology, where our jobs are dependent, you see. So if you can't come up with a method to cope with that change, that's difficult. Now, first of all, we don't want to change. That's one reason we suffer. Grasping what is impermanent, seeing what is impermanent as permanent. That's how we suffer. Now, especially when things change with such a great speed, how are you going to cope with that? You're not very sure how much is your bank balance and so forth, because everything is in the hand of the machines already. The machine is really controlling us. I mean, if you go to a market or even when you in a train or an aeroplane, everybody is with the mobile phone, you see. You're already controlled by the technology, the mobile phone, and you are sitting there like a zombie, And that's the problem, you see. When you react with, when you relate to this technology, it's one-sided information. It's not like talking to you. If I talk to you, I say something, you say respond, then we can see which one is better, to follow you or not to follow you. But with television and other technology, it's one-sided information. You sit, as I said, you sit there like a zombie and getting all the informations. And much of the information, unfortunately, is junk information. And the Buddha said long time back, don't make your mind a dustbin. Exactly, we are doing that today. And proudly we are saying we are living in the age of information. And the information that, much of the information that you get is junk information. Junk mail, you all know that, junk mail. And then even when you watch a news, there may be 20, 30 channels, different. Most of them are not reliable, unfortunately. They are with this political party, that political party, for this business group, that business group, and we are sitting there like. And we don't have the capacity to find out the truth, you see. So what should we do now? Where should we turn to? The only place to turn to is to yourself, trusting yourself, gaining control. When things are changing, you should be able to control yourself, how to adapt yourself to the changing situation. If you want happiness, if you want long-lasting happiness, you should not try to get that long-lasting happiness from external situations and events. External situations and events are not there to entertain you. We look at the tree, it's beautiful, it's wonderful, especially a tree with beautiful flowers and fruits and so forth, it's wonderful. But don't think that this tree is grown for you. This tree is there to entertain you. No. It's not there to entertain you. Right? So therefore it is wrong to think that my husband is there to make me happy and entertain me. The external situations, events, they will go. They will go. You can't change them. You can't control the sun not to shine. You can't control the rain and say stop. Even some of the Tibetan teachers who say they can control rain, but not always successful. I've seen this many times, you see. So you really don't have much control. So why you waste your time trying to control those things over which you have no control and cannot control? Instead, you turn inside. How would you react to those changing situations and events? That's within your control. That's why the Buddha has always been saying that take care of your mind. Take care of mind. There's so much talk about mind and mental transformation, mind training, meditation, mindfulness, awareness, conscientiousness, so many of these words related to the mind. Even with my very limited experience, I'm very, very confident that at the end of the day, it is how you think. Because everything is projection of your mind. Everything. This person looks nice. In what sense? Because I thought this person is nice. He gave me a cup of tea. These are the stupid reasons that we come forward, you see. And this person really doesn't look nice. The way she is looking at me doesn't look nice. Things like that. So we project. And I have that experience myself. I had met people who in the very beginning looks very, arrogant, almost like bully type, But when you really venture out and talk to that person, you find that person a wonderful person. Wonderful person. So therefore, take time and see the reality without projecting things. Right? That reminded me a story of the Buddha at a particular place when he was sitting with some of his followers, sanghas. A stranger came and rushed straight to the Buddha and spat on his face. Very angrily he spat on the face of the Buddha. Then his followers pushed that person and sent that person away. And after that, the followers of the Buddha, he said, your patience is a little bit too much. This person, without any reason, just came and spat on your face and you are still sitting there smiling, not reacting. Your patience is a little bit too much. The Buddha said, I am not upset with that person, I am upset with you people, because you are supposed to be listening to my talks and teachings. And you immediately got angry when you met that person. And in that person, yes, it is true that he spat on my face, but there may be some reason for him. Somebody must have said many bad things about me, or in between him and me. So there must be some reason for him. Or maybe he is upset with his family, whatever. There may be many other reasons, you see. So without knowing those reasons, you cannot just get angry. And not only that, to get angry is not the solution, first of all. Right? So there are so many ways of thinking by which you can really, really make your life much, much happier and more pleasant and more peaceful. You see? Sometimes, we all have this experience. Sometimes when your mood is good, the sun looks better, the rain looks better, people looks nice, When you are in a bad mood, everything, the whole cosmology looks tough and rough, right? So it's your projection, And that's why in Buddhism there is so much talk about developing loving kindness to all sentient beings. You know what is the meaning of loving kindness? And the first criteria for developing loving kindness is to see everybody attractive to you, very close to your heart. And can you do that? Can you do that? The Buddha says, yes, we can. A mother is able to do that to her son, to her children. Why can't we do this to other people? The mother is able to develop that loving kindness to her children because she says, all these children belong to me, these are my children. So similarly, why can't you say that all these sentient beings are my sentient beings, my friends' sentient beings? And the more important reason is whether you know them or not. One thing that is very clear is all these people want happiness, but they are not getting enough. All these people don't want suffering, but they are getting plenty of suffering and problems. And within this short life also they are having a lot of problems, difficulties because of ignorance and so forth. When you see this reality, naturally, even if you are not overwhelmed with compassion and love, you will feel some concern and sense of responsibility to that person. So what I'm trying to say is it is all question of really understanding the reality, the way things are. Once you understand the way things are, the reality, that doesn't mean that from that onwards you will never get angry. Anger will come, frustration will come, because you are still an ordinary human being. But there will be no lingering hatred, disliking to anybody. Right? Right? So therefore, life is short. So what are you trying to achieve in this short life? Just running like a slave for money. Or to lead a happy, peaceful life. And if you want to lead a happy, peaceful life, when do you think you are going to get it? After earning a lot of money? After getting married? Things like that. That's what we normally think. So the Buddha always says that the happiness that you are looking, you need to develop this right now. This is the time to be happy, not tomorrow. Today is cashed check. Today is the cash. Today is cash. Tomorrow is like a check, you see. It's not sure. Check might bounce back, you see. And tomorrow, who has seen tomorrow? Who has seen future? There's no certainty. So live now. Live now. Every day you should be happy. And how can you be happy? Normally when somebody is asked to be happy today, they immediately measure their happiness in terms of money. How can I be happy? I have only 1,000 rupees in my bank balance. That's how we think. No. When we say you should be happy today, there are many reasons you can be happy. The year before, when I was giving a public talk in Moscow, I was saying something like this. And then there was an elderly Russian lady sitting in front, and she said, Geshe, I am an old Russian lady living alone, nobody supporting me, I don't have much money, so how can I be happy? You see, this is how we think. Then I said, yes, I am very sorry for that, but I see you have 2 eyes intact. She said, yes. And 2 hands intact, yes. 2 legs intact, yes. Appreciate that. You will be happy. How many people are there in the world who are without eye, who are without legs, who are without hands? Thank Buddha or whoever that at least you have both eyes intact. And you are born as a human being, not as a dog, as a snake or a lion. If you are born as a dog, you can see how the dogs are living. Especially the stray dogs, you see. Where are they going to have their breakfast, dinner, lunch? Think about that. Don't compare yourself with Bill Gates. Okay? Really? And you will be happy. Many people ask this question to me, Geshe Lhakdor, are you happy? When I say I'm happy, they don't believe. Because people think there are not many people who are really happy. That's how they think. Recently there was a group of people who came from Canada, and also other places, Hong Kong and Australia. So there was one lady who had attended 2 of my talks, and she just met me outside and said, Geshe, you always say you are happy. Are you really happy? I said, yes, I'm happy. And she said, how? I said, I have a place to live. I have things to eat. What else I need? You see, I'm not saying that I'm the perfect one, but if you think like that, you see, you are not born in a place where there is cross firing, you know. You are born not born in a place where there is a famine, drought, you know. So many parts of the world are suffering from that, and you are not. Every reason to be happy. And that is not to say that you should get contented and not try to make further development. I'm not saying that. What I'm saying is, appreciate the good things that you have right now. Right? And when your mind is happy, then you can meditate. Sometimes teachers say, if you are unhappy, then meditate. How can you meditate if you are unhappy? You can meditate when you are happy, which means when your mind is calm. One of the processes of teaching Buddhism is through the threefold training, which is called morality, concentration, and wisdom. So morality means, basically morality means your mind being calm. And your mind is calm when you have not harmed anybody, when you have helped others, when you did the good things, then your mind becomes calm. Shil, in Sanskrit or Hindi we call it shil, which comes from the word shitalta, which means coolness of the mind. When your mind is cool, which means not tormented by the heat of anger, jealousy and so forth, then you can concentrate. Right? And the one thing that distracts us from such a concentration towards virtuous practices is the negative emotions. When the negative emotions arise because of our too much focus and concern with 8 worldly dharmas, which is the topic of today, 8 worldly dharmas. So my hope and expectation is that I try to put few things from here and there, and my hope is that you continue to pay attention to this and try to practice it. And I especially want to dedicate these 3 days of session for the long life of His Holiness Dalai Lama, because he was recently not very well, given his age and responsibility, you know. So we are here doing good things. So we are collecting merit, and we should dedicate this merit for the long life and health of His Holiness Dalai Lama. He's really like the sun, you know. Right? So therefore, for our own personal well-being and for the well-being of your family and many others, if we are able to reduce, I'm not saying completely get rid of it, which is a difficult task, reduce the intensity of the 8 worldly dharmas, our life will be much, much, much happier. Right? So let us read a little bit. I've written some of this so that you will be able to remember later on. 8 worldly dharmas. Some disciples of Atisha asked him how they should distinguish what is dharma from non-dharma. See, what is dharma from non-dharma? We talk much about dharma, but most of us have no idea what is dharma. Dharma means, in Tibetan it's called chu, which means changing, transforming. So if you change your mind from negative to the positive, then you are doing Dharma practice. If you are not doing that, doesn't matter, you are visiting temple 20 times a day and doing prostration many times a day. It may be good exercise, but not necessarily Dharma. Okay? Dharma. And especially when we talk about Buddhist Dharma practice, then the word Dharma refers to Nirvana. Any good thing that you do with the aim to get liberated, with the aim to get Nirvana, then that is Dharma practice. If you don't do that, it's a good work, but not necessarily Dharma. Like many people who are not Buddhist or even atheists, they do many good things, but we can't call it Dharma, because the word Dharma means Nirvana. And that's important, because what we really want is, as we already agreed, we want long-lasting happiness. The long-lasting happiness will be there only when you get liberated from samsara, achieve that state of dharma or nirvana, right? So dharma basically means transforming your mind to achieve that dharma, nirvana. So some disciples of Atisha asked him how they should distinguish what is dharma from non-dharma. Atisha replied, from your motivation. Look at this, from your motivation. Whatever you do, if you do it with your selfish concerns, that you will become famous, that you will get money and you will get many, many friends and things like that, everything that you do with your personal concern, that is not good for you. If you do it for the benefit of others, it's very good for you. From your motivation. So the motivation should be to benefit others. If you practice Tantra, which is the highest Buddhist practice, if you practice Tantra with any of the 8 worldly motivations, the practice cannot even be the lowest Dharma. Forget about if you think that you are doing tantric practice with the wrong motivation, then if you think that you are doing the highest practice, then Atisha says, no, you are practicing tantra, but because of your wrong motivation, it will be the lowest practice. It will not even become the lowest practice, right? They asked Atisha, if the highest dharma is practiced with a bad motivation, what result is gained? He answered, nothing else but rebirth in hell. In the Preta realm, Preta realm means hungry ghost, or in the miserable animal realm. It's all because of motivation. Just as in politics we talk about dirty politics, because of wrong motivation, personal gain. So similarly, religion also become dirty religion because of wrong motivation, right? Therefore, when Kadamba Lamas means the Kadampas are masters who are very, very well known for their discipline and great practice. So when Kadamba Lamas engage in any spiritual practice, they always check whether their minds are influenced by any of the 8 worldly attitudes. There is a teaching which says when you are among many people, watch your mouth. When you are alone in somebody's house, watch your hand. But always watch your mind. When you are alone or with any other people, always watch your mind, what my mind is thinking. Your mind is your boss. It's not your husband, your wife. They are not your boss. Normally we say, this is my boss. No. There's nothing much they can do. Right? So who is your mind? Who is your boss? Your mind. Because this invisible force called mind, which is colorless, shapeless, right? Non-physical, but it's this energy, this thinking, this mind, which is giving order all the time. Don't sit there, don't talk to this person, talk to this person, don't go there, come here. The mind is ordering you all the time, right? So mind is your boss. Now if your mind is your boss, then the commonsensical thing is that the boss must be a good one, right? That's why we try to elect a good president, good prime minister, good boss, right? But at least you can elect your boss, a good mind. That's what Dharma practice is about. Dharma practice means electing a good mind, enthroning the positive qualities, dethroning the negative emotions, empowering the positive emotions, right? Reducing the power of negative emotions. That is called Dharma practice. So, one thing that we need to now know here is the mind which is your boss is controlling you. You are controlled by your mind. That's not a big issue, right? The big issue is the mind which is controlling you is essentially negative one. The mind which is controlling you is essentially unenlightened mind, stupid mind, foolish mind, short-sighted mind, right? So when you are ruled by a mind which is stupid, foolish, short-sighted, how can you get long-lasting happiness and peace? Impossible. So therefore, if you want that long-lasting happiness, you need to elect a new kind of mind, empower a new mind. That's called Dharma practice. So therefore, the first and the most important thing is to watch your mind. And when different thoughts arise, you need to see what kind of thoughts are arising. Right? This is the beginning of your practice. You need to watch that constantly, what is coming in your mind. Normally, before we enter into any Dharma practice, we don't watch our mind. Whatever comes, we allow them. Good things, bad things, anger, jealousy, hatred, compassion, love, whatever is coming. Your doors and windows of the mind are open 24 hours. Negative emotions in the form of burglars and thieves, they are coming and stealing all your virtuous qualities and going away. There's no chowkidar. Therefore, until now, the negative emotions had a free hand. So through Dharma practice, now what you are saying is, gone are the past. Gone are the days when you robbed me, when you cheated me. Now with Dharma practice, now by listening to his own teachings, I got some idea, some sense to check who is coming, who is not coming. So now when the negative emotions like anger and jealousy are coming, you need to say, no. Now you have mindfulness and alertness or conscientiousness as the guardians, as the chowkidars, as the doorkeepers. And you give very good instruction, okay, don't let negative emotions come. When loving kindness and compassion and wisdom are coming, then you should say, sorry, I did not recognize you before. You're such an important fellow. It was a little bit late, but I really want to welcome you. And entertain them. Offer them a cup of tea. Let them sit in the headquarters of your mind. So right now in the headquarters of mind, two most destructive emotions have controlled our mind. And what are those two most important, most destructive negative emotions are? Ignorance and self-cherishing attitude. Ignorance means not knowing the truth, not knowing the ultimate reality. That is there already. Headquarters. Imagine if Delhi is captured by the enemy, you are more or less lost. The country is more or less lost. Right? So right now, self-cherishing attitude, ignorance are sitting in the headquarters of our mind and nobody is challenging them. We have submitted to them, to their dictates, and very obediently we are trying to do everything they say. And that is why we are suffering. So now, through Dharma practice, now you are saying, now I know who these gundas are, who these robbers are. Now I want to replace ignorance with wisdom. Now I want to replace self-cherishing attitude with bodhicitta. So your new, hopefully, elected leaders will be wisdom, understanding, emptiness and shunyata and bodhicitta. Give power to them. That's the purpose of meditation. Meditation means making your mind habituated with the positive qualities. Because with the negative emotions, our mind is already very, very well acquainted. We don't need meditation on negative emotions. So we need meditation on positive emotions, especially empowering wisdom and bodhicitta. So that is basically the focus of all the Mahayana teachings. The centerpiece of all the Mahayana teachings, the core teachings of all the Mahayana text is these two: how to develop wisdom, understanding emptiness, and how to cultivate bodhicitta, which are known as conventional bodhicitta and ultimate bodhicitta. Right? Right? So in order to develop these emotions, you should first have good moral practice, which in Buddhism basically means stopping negative deeds, collecting virtuous practices, and benefiting sentient beings. Three things entail what we call as morality. Three things, what we call as morality. So with this morality, when your mind is calm, then you can concentrate. Then you can concentrate. Right? But when you do the concentration, there are many distractions, out of which the 8 worldly concerns are some of the most destructive distractions. So therefore, in order to achieve successful concentration, you should at least reduce the 8 worldly concerns or 8 worldly attitudes. Number 1, desire for fame. Who is not there who don't want fame? We run after fame. When somebody praises you a little bit, you feel so happy. You know? When somebody says your shirt looks so nice, you feel so happy. And Shantideva says, when somebody praises you, instead of getting too excited, you should think this person is a good person. He knows good things as good things. Instead, you see. So don't get puffed up. Don't get puffed up. Don't run after fame. Second, feeling unhappy or anguished when we lose fame. Right? When you lose fame a little bit, you feel very, very unhappy. But some of the great teachers, when their name and fame goes, they feel so happy. I have some write-ups somewhere. I will read that. I'll read that before I forget. In Buddhism, we sometimes hear reference to the 8 worldly dharmas, which form it's not there. I'm reading something else, okay? Some of these things should be kept secret, okay? So that you think I'll know a little bit more than you. In Buddhism, we sometimes hear reference to the 8 worldly dharmas, which form the basis on which we mostly live our lives. This 8 comprises 4 pairs of polar opposites. Our actions are motivated by the wish for pleasure, gain, praise and fame, and the avoidance of suffering, loss, criticism and disrepute. Aryadeva, in his 400 verses, he says, when their sand castles collapse, children howl in despair. That means if you look at the children playing by the sea beach, building sand castles, one child comes up and builds a sand castle, another comes and gives a kick and destroys that sand castle. The child who built that sand castle howls or cries as if a real castle has been dismantled. But then in the eye of the grown-up person like us, then we'll go and pet that child and say, don't cry, this is just sand, this is not sand castle, not the real castle, you see. So what he is trying to say is just like the small kids, that the lamentation, the cry and the sadness that we express in our life are really not worth doing that. It's like the falling of that sand castle. When your names goes away, it's like falling of that sand castle. So therefore the Buddhas, the enlightened beings, they look at us and says, these are my children. Even if you're a professor, even if you're a great scientist, to the Buddha's eye, you are still a child because you still don't know how to get rid of your suffering, right? Likewise, when my praise and reputation decline, my mind becomes like a little child. Now look at this. These are the important points that I've collected from some other book. How we are living, how we are going after fame and name. We live in a culture where people seem prepared to go to ever more desperate lengths to achieve their 15 minutes of fame, to come on the screen. Somebody interviews you and then you say, oh, it came on the television, so what? I also appear on television a few times and some of the shopkeepers say, oh, I saw you on the television. So what does that mean, right? A flick through the staple fodder of TV game shows and competitions where contestants are rewarded for being bitchy or boorish or otherwise humiliating themselves suggests there are no depths to which some people will not sink just to get on TV. Why do so many of us feel the need to sign up hundreds of friends on social networking sites when we really have no idea who they are? Why do we feel such a strong need to be known and recognized? This is the point. You become so concerned, what will they think about me? If I put on this shirt, what will they say? If I put on this pant, what will they think? You see? You are not tailored to adapt to the needs of others. Learn to live your own life freely. Right? It's very important. Why do we feel such a strong need to be known and recognized? That's the problem. The more you are concerned about what people will think about me, what will they say about me, you are not living your own life. It's not important what they think, what they say about you, so long as you try to be good and honest and truthful, then let other people think whatever they want to think. You live your life. Right? But if we are truthful, most of us are unnervingly similar in the way that we worry about other people think of us. We long to be accepted, to be thought of as successful. If somebody says, he's very successful, you get so happy. Successful, likable and smart, as go-getters, high flyers, out-of-the-box thinkers. Perhaps as modest or unassuming or whatever trip we happen to be on, we suffer from status anxiety. Whether we call it the desire for praise and fame or status anxiety, it is a dynamic we encounter everywhere. And of course, the way we project ourselves through the clothes, that's what I already referred. Jewelry, sunglasses, and shoes that we wear, the hairstyle we adopt, and the makeup and surgical enhancement. How many people are there who constantly do surgical enhancement to look better? The surgical enhancement we choose is very often dominated by the wish for others to think of us in a particular way. And now look at Milarepa. He says, if I am able to live in this empty cave, where if I die, there's nobody to cry after me, where I die, if there is not even a stain of blood or footstep of any person, how nice. How nice. Just like the birds. Right? I'm not trying to turn the clock back, It is really, if you are able to do a little bit of that kind of paying less attention to name and fame, you will be freer. You will be freer. You will be freer. If you pretend what you are not, if you try to show yourself as somebody important when you are not important, useless. These are all baggage, excess baggage. Excess baggage. Shantideva makes exactly this point, underlining how praise and approval fuel our experience of samsara. And then samsara keeps on going in typically counterintuitive style to explain why we should be thankful to those who criticize us instead. When somebody criticizes you, thank that person. There was a Tibetan teacher, when he was requested to give a teaching, he would say, I have nothing to teach except highlighting your faults. If you're ready for that, then sit. If I keep on highlighting the faults, I think not many people are prepared to do that. We want praises, right? We want praises, but that will not work in the long run. So therefore, these 8 worldly concerns, now I am reading the next line which you have. These 8 attitudes are called 8 inner evils. So I read the first one, desire for fame. Second, feeling unhappy or anguish when we lose fame. Desire for worldly pleasure. Desire for worldly pleasure. he used the word worldly pleasure, not happiness. Happiness has to come from with the mind. Pleasure mostly enjoyed by the senses. So today the whole world is running not really for happiness but for sensual pleasures. The eye to see something, the tongue to taste something, the body to touch something, the ear to listen to something melodious and things like that. The big malls and things that is coming in the market, these are all to entertain your senses, which is very troublesome. In Abhidharma, Vasubandhu clearly mentions, even if you get attracted to one sensual pleasure, you will get big problem. And he gives the example of butterfly, which is attracted to the flame, then it goes there and dies, attracted to just one flame form. Then similarly the house flies that you see, they are attracted to one thing, that is smell, bad smell. They go there in the dirt, get their feet stuck there and dies in hundreds and thousands. Then elephant is said to be very attracted, obsessed with touch. And if you gently massage the body of an elephant, he enjoys it and just sits down, and then he is chained and enslaved. And then look at how the fisherman catches the fish, just by putting that little meat or something as a bait. And the fish, because of obsession with the taste, chews it and is thrown outside the water and killed. And then the sound, it is said that some of the wild animals like deer are very attracted to, very obsessed with sound. And if you sing some beautiful music, and they'll come there with their ears raised, and not knowing that there is trap laid already, then they are caught and killed. So if these are the examples that if you get obsessed with one sensual objects, you can get into big problem. Now human beings are obsessed with all the 5 sensual objects. And that's why I always give this concrete example of a mall, as has been explained by this text. If you visit a mall, it really has all the 5 sensual objects there in great presentation to further seduce you. And then you go to the first floor, it's the scents, the fragrances. It is really there, I have checked it. Okay, I have checked it. All kind of fragrances and scents made from this flower, that flower, then you use all these scents. You lose a lot of money. Go to the next floor, television, where you see many kind of forms. You get obsessed with it, you get a problem. Go to the next floor, restaurants, Japanese restaurant, Chinese restaurant, whatever, you get obsessed with it and you at least lose a lot of money. Then go to the next floor, clothes. Now clothes also for men, for women, for children, for touch. You get obsessed with it. Then go to the next floor. What left? Music, sound, CD, DVDs, one whole floor. It's there. Because these business people, they know our weakness. That we are running after sensual objects, and they make a beautiful presentation of that. Not only the 5 sensual objects are there, but the presentation that they make is buy one free. Things like that. And you get completely seduced by that. And now people say people suffer from a disease called shopping coma. I read it in a magazine when I was flying from Germany to India or something like that, long time back. And then later on I was reading an ancient Tibetan mind training text. It exactly says the same thing. Tomzi. Tomlichine Sigyusara Mira. Tomzi, shopping coma. Tomzi means market intoxication. Even in those days, you see. And there are stories of parents losing their children, you see, in big markets, in big melas, you see. So that's the thing, right? So these are because of, and today the whole world is running, right? Everybody is running. Everybody is busy. Everybody says, I'm busy, right? To meet anybody, you need to seek appointment. When the Lord of Death comes, He will not seek your appointment. He will come anytime. But for meeting other people, you need to seek that appointment. So everybody is running. Now we can find out why are we running. For long-lasting happiness? Maybe, but primarily running for sensual pleasures. I said we all want peace, happiness, we all want a long-lasting happiness, but I did not say we are all running for long-lasting happiness. Probably we are not doing that. We are running for sensual pleasures. You call it business or whatever you want to call it. We are running for sensual pleasures. Now it is because of this running after sensual pleasures that we don't get time to look after our boss, the mind. And much of the problem that we see today is sign of starvation of the mind. Starvation of the mind. For the body you give so many things, right? You are not good here also, but you give so many things. But for the mind, what do you give? Hardly anything. Even if you do 10 minutes meditation, then you boast about it, saying, oh, I did 10 minutes meditation. Right? A famous teacher and student of Tsongkhapa, Khedub Je, he wrote a beautiful text primarily on emptiness, and the title of the text is called Dose of Emptiness. Meaning that when you are ill and sick for long time, just one tablet of medicine will not cure that illness. You need to take several doses of medicines. Therefore, we need to do Dharma practice regularly, constantly. Right? So therefore, first of all, we need to get rid of these hindrances. Desire for fame, feeling unhappy or anguished when we lose fame. There are stories of some of the great teachers that when the robbers come and rob all of their wealth, then after being robbed, they would say, now you have taken all my belongings, but my followers are on this side, so if you go there, you will get trouble. So go this way. You see, so much concern. Really, belonging means nothing for them. Right? Feeling unhappy or anguished when we lose fame. If you lose fame, it's actually one baggage gone. If you have fame, many people will come after you. They'll give you a lot of work. Some of them may be useful, some of them are not useful, you see. So fame, how did Lady Diana died? Because of fame. She was famous, everybody was chasing, and then she had a car accident, you see. There's so many stories we can hear. Desire for worldly pleasure, that is what I was primarily talking about, worldly pleasure. Worldly pleasures are like salty water. The more you drink, the more you get thirsty. There will never be a time when you will say, I'm now done with this. Unless you show some kind of restraint, some kind of contentment from your side, there never will be a time when you say, now I have done. Desire for material gain. Much of the killings, conflicts, fightings, even among family members, they are all for material gain. and we run and try to get so many of these material possessions, and once we have it, we don't know how to use it. And many a times we don't even know why the hell I bought this from the market. Now, if you don't believe me, just go back to your room or home and check. There will be so many things lying there which you didn't use during the last many years. But still you thought, as I do, that one day I will need it. One day I'll need it. Desire for material gain. And then to get that material gain, how much hard work you need to do. In many cases, we really have to live like a donkey. People work so much in big cities, just to get that material gain. And I've seen in many developed Western countries, people work like anything to get that monetary gain. And in the process of getting that monetary gain, they exhaust themselves completely, and their mind also get depressed, and all kind of mental problems they get, and then they have to go to a psychotherapy. Look at the joke. They work like a donkey to earn money, and then the money, once earned, they have to give it to psychotherapy. Therefore, psychotherapy is a booming business today in many so-called developed countries. So therefore, the Buddha is saying, you take care of your mind, relax a little bit, you don't have to go to psychotherapy. Keep that money with yourself. See, so therefore these Buddhist teachings are not only like good for your mind, it's really good for your financial improvement also. Now, these days you need to refer to the financial hardcore reality, you see. And I've been telling my Tibetan friends, people, you might be thinking, oh, Buddhism, yeah, it's good, very good, but for my job, for my work, for my money, Buddhism is not of any help. Many people think like that. Then I tell my Tibetan friends, look at McLeodganj. How many hotels are flourishing? How many different types of businesses are flourishing? All this is primarily because of Buddhist culture. People are attracted to Buddhist culture, they come and they support and they spend money. You see? They don't come here to do business with Tibetan people. We have no real business to do, Things that they are selling, they brought from New Delhi, So they can buy it from Delhi. They don't have to come to Dharamsala. But they come all the way because of that culture, that religion. And then take the example of those people who don't have such practice. They may be earning a lot of money, but at the same time they resort to drinking and all kind of addictions. Not only they lose their money, they lose their health and everything, you see. A survey has been done in Harvard of few students, I think 3-4 students, while they were in the school, a team of researchers, surveyed these students, and who were equally good in their studies, more or less equally good in their studies. And then they followed these students. After they finished their study, they went to take different jobs. And then they found that that student who really after finishing the study maintained good relation with their family, good relation with the co-workers, and worked with love and compassion and honesty, they slowly but surely rose to the height and became a CEO or things like that. Then there are others who after finishing their study took shortcut to rise to that high power. And in that process they got divorced from their family and things like that. And some of them even landed in jail. So you can see how these inner qualities are, useful in our daily life. Desire for material gain. Feeling unhappy when we lose material gain. Feeling unhappy when we lose material gain. At one time, my house, when I was away, a burglar came and broke my door. And my door, I had nobody looking after there, so my door remained open for maybe 4 or 5 days until I came back. So it was during the New Year. Somebody came and he brought some cookies and things like that. When he saw everything, thrown around. When he called me, I was teaching in Delhi or somewhere. Said, Geshe, something must have happened in you. Then I called somebody at least to lock the door, you see. So what I'm saying is, these things come and go. These things come and go. When you came into this world, you have nothing. You came naked. Right? These things come and go. And then, especially when something is lost, what is the use of crying over spilled milk, as we say? You see? Really? So right mental attitude is very, very useful. And sometimes when some of your things which is lying in your room, which you are not using for a long, long time, it's good. The burglar is now using it. So really. So there are so many ways of thinking, when you have the right perspective. I'm not saying I'm good in all those things, okay? Don't get that implication. But what I'm saying is, as Shantideva said, if it's something that you can change, don't worry, because you can change it. If it is something you can't change, no use worrying, because by worrying you can't change it, you see. That's the thing. So once you are able to understand the way things are, the reality, there will be a big shift in your mental perspective. And that shift will give you hope, peace, happiness, right? So therefore, a Tibetan teacher, he says, there is nobody who will catch hold of your hand and throw you into heaven. Even Buddha cannot do that. Understand this. There is nobody who will catch hold of your hand and throw you into heaven. Buddha or your best friends, they can't do anything. Similarly, there is nobody who will catch hold of your leg and throw you into the hell. The Chinese leaders can't do this to the Tibetans. They can kill us, yes, but they can't throw us into the hell. So therefore, your happiness and your suffering is in your hand. Now mark this point. Your happiness and your suffering is in your hand. Do not deceive yourself. That's what the teacher says. Do not cheat yourself. Do you cheat yourself? Of course, we will say, I don't cheat myself. Yes, we are cheating ourselves by not doing the right thing, by doing the wrong thing. That is called cheating. Do not cheat yourself. So one has to take care of oneself. No use blaming others, that my brother is not looking after me, no sister is not looking after me. Not much use. Not much use. Okay? Feeling unhappy when we lose material gain. Desire for praise. Praise is what? It's just one word. If somebody says you are Buddha, you feel very happy, but you will never become Buddha, If somebody says, oh, you are a dog, you don't have to bark. Until you bark, nobody can make you a dog. So let them say. It's like if you record something nasty about yourself and then play it, will you get angry? No, it's just a recording. It's just an echo, If you just shout to the rock saying, you rock, you should die, and then it will echo back by saying, you die, and will you get angry then? It's just sound, you see. It's really sound. You are what you are. The people cannot change it by giving you different names. Feeling anguished when we hear harsh or unpleasant words to ourselves. Harsh or unpleasant words to ourselves. Who is this person who is hearing these unpleasant words? First of all, we are so concerned about ourselves, the so-called me. But if you honestly sit down and think, who is this person that is so concerned about these 8 worldly dharmas? You have no clue. Who are you? Where is this person who is so susceptible to all these things? So this part is related to the meaning of emptiness, which we'll read on the last day, right? As long as our mind is dominated by any one of these eight worldly concerns, we can hardly rest in true peace and happiness, despite material comforts. There are many people who are very rich, but never happy. Because of this, they are concerned for name and fame, what people say around them, you see. There is always the danger of being deluded by these attitudes when we practice Dharma. Even in the case of a practitioner, when he is a little bit successful about his practice, he might get puffed up again. You see. So if such things happen, then it's really, the god becoming devil, or deity becoming devil, or medicine becoming poison. Unless we have reached the level where desire for pleasure within this life is overcome. Kadamba Lamas always try to take the blame upon themselves in order to get rid of pride over their qualities of desire for fame. Okay, I'll stop the reading here and take some questions. Yeah, please.
What do you exactly mean when you say long-term happiness? And the second question is it necessary for oneself to become a monk or nun to achieve that long-term happiness?
Long-term happiness means happiness from where there is no sliding back. Our ordinary happiness, today you are happy, tomorrow you are not so happy, things like that, When you reach nirvana, or relatively more reliable state of happiness, then you will be able to maintain that happiness, stay in that level of happiness forever, for a long, long time. That's called permanent or reliable happiness. Okay, and what was your second?
Is it necessary for...
Oh yeah, to get that long-lasting happiness, it is not necessary to become a monk or a nun. There is a saying which says, if you practice, even if you remain as a householder, there is nirvana, just like Marballozawa and many other ancient Indian kings and ministers. If you don't practice, even if you hibernate yourself high up in the mountain, you will not get happiness, just like the marmot. You know the marmot, the animal? Chiva, which hibernates in the mountain, sleeps there for 6 months and things like that. And there's no nirvana or happiness for that, right? And even in the case of our human practitioners, it is good for the eye of ordinary people to go high up in the mountain, but having reached that mountain, if all you do is thinking about the plane, about business, about your friends, relatives, there's no real practice, right? Having said that, if you become a real, genuinely good monk, good nun, then that has added advantage, because it is now like specializing. Because there will be less, now if you are married, you have to look after your children, you look after your family and things like that. So there's a lot of more distraction. If you are a monk, nun, then you are like going to a school. Why people go to school? You can study in your home also. But in the home there are so many distractions. But when you go to school, then everybody is there with that uniform, supposed to be studying. Whether studying or not, I don't know, but supposed to be studying. So that gives an environment. So like that. But again, becoming a monk and nun, again depends who you are, what you do, you see.
Ishmael, you mentioned that when you feel yourself unhappy state of mind, when you feel yourself unhappy, then maybe it's not a good time for meditate.
Yeah.
And Atisha in the Bodhisattva Venerable Chan mentioned in the verse 15 that if a feeling of discouragement arises, then let me praise the goddess of the mind and meditate on the awareness of the both state of mind.
True.
Similar to think in this particular time about the awareness of both states of mind, happy and unhappy.
True. Because there is a Tibetan phrase which says "Dungye me var ngenjung me." Without having the experience of suffering, there will be no renunciation. Right? So therefore, and there's another saying which says suffering is introduction to happiness. Okay? So it is the experience of suffering that will urge you to do some drastic practice that way. But the point that I was making was, when you are actually doing that meditation, at that time if your mind is unhappy, disturbed, how can you meditate? The one that propelled you to take that step to practice and to meditate is definitely understanding of suffering and things like that. But at the time when you actually meditate, your mind should be calm, should be happy. Right? That's my point. Okay, thank you. See you tomorrow.